I remember hearing of this animated pilot by VivziePop known as Has Been Hotel and never really showing any interest in watching it. But then a friend on Twitter one day recommended another VivziePop short to me called Bad Luck Jack, and I remember enjoying it. Another friend actually has recommended Has Been Hotel to me too, and seeing as I did enjoy Bad Luck Jack, I decided to cave in and give this one a chance, and I like this one too. That same friend also recommended me today's topic, Helluva Boss. Well, the first episode was already out at the time, so I decided to give that a watch before I watched the pilot. Then the second episode eventually came out, and I watched that too. Then the third episode eventually came out, and yep, I watched that too. And now, let's say as an ultimate first impression, I'm going to be talking about all three of these episodes right now. If you're wondering why I'm not going to be talking about the pilot too, well, I just don't feel like it, okay? Anyway, I just want to get this over with before the fourth episode comes out, so let's just get into it. Episode 1, Murder Family.
Yeah, that's not exactly how it works, ladies. Sorry, your fire doesn't really hurt us, but I mean, I could fake it if that'll get your dick hard.
Ow. Shit. Well, I'll just shoot you in your smart-ass mouth.
That would be more effective.
After dying and going to hell due to some incident with her ex-husband, elementary school teacher Miss Mayberry gets the IMP to go kill the one who banged her ex-husband, seeing as Martha, the one they need to go after, has gotten famous after her shooting. However, that's going to be much easier said than done, seeing as her family is kinda effed up. This is made a bit harder too, seeing as Invader Zim, Moxie, and no, I don't care if this joke has been overdone at this point, has struggles trying to kill an innocent family, or at least ruining, as Blitz says. Like I said earlier, I actually watched this episode before I did so with the pilot, and I gotta say, this really wasn't a bad start. As a first episode, it nicely introduces the premise of the show and what these characters are like. Like how Blitz is the overconfident boss, Moxie's the straight man who has a thing with Millie, Luna's the I don't care sassy teenager, and Stolas being horny for Blitz. Even the story mainly showcases what their job is like, so if you want to start here instead of the pilot, be my guest. Let's talk about their target, Martha, now. She's actually kind of threatening now that I think about it. Not only were her and the family able to capture 2 of the imps, but yeah, that too. But this kind of is giving me hope to see if more of the imps' targets are going to be this threatening. I also really like Moxie's arc in the episode too. With him at first being hesitant on killing the family, but after seeing how psychotic they were, freaking shoots Martha to save the rest. He even lets the remaining family live so they can suffer the consequences of their actions. I mean, that doesn't last very long, but overall it was still nice to see. And it just goes to show how not everyone in hell is a complete jerk and why Moxie's actually one of my favorite characters. Overall, I'd say Murder Family is a nice little way to start things off, not only introducing all the characters and what they do, but giving a nice little arc for Moxie. Like I said earlier, if you're not really interested in watching the pilot, don't be afraid to check this one out first.
Eminem, get in here! We're going to Lululand!
Lululand? Lululand?
Lululand!
Now we have an episode focusing on Stolas and his daughter. A little strange doing this only 2 episodes in, but I digress. What's this episode about anyway? Stolas' teen daughter, Octavia, has been pretty depressed lately, seeing as Stolas has been hanging out with Blitz and this absolutely infuriating his wife. So to try bonding with her, this horny Jack Skellington owl decides to take her to an amusement park called Lululand, which he's not really interested in. But not without getting Blitz and the gang to accompany them. Because of course he would. You know, I gotta say, I really enjoyed the gags in this episode more. From the whole Lululand joke at the beginning, from Stolas being happy about being kidnapped just because Blitz is there, and the whole freaking park getting set on fire because Blitz got into a fight with some clown drone thing. I even enjoyed the Millie and Moxie subplot with them just hanging around the park with Millie being more cheery about it and Moxie being more cautious. This episode also has 2 song numbers and I really like those too. The opening song, You'll Be Okay, is pretty freaking touching, and visually pleasing too. The second song, Lululand, while I can't really say it does too much for the story, it definitely is a fun little bop. And then we have the heart of the episode, Stolas and Octavia's relationship. Throughout the episode, it's made clear that Octavia is not enjoying herself at the park at all. In this moment at the end where Stolas and Octavia are just alone on the ride, and how Octavia explains to her dad that she was afraid of him leaving her behind because of his recent behaviors with Blitz, and how it feels like her family was completely falling apart because of this, and Stolas being at a complete loss for words after what she just said. Yeah, as you can see, I kind of freaking love this scene. But hey, at least after this, Octavia does feel better, and hopefully Stolas will try to improve himself as a dad. Overall, I definitely enjoyed this episode more than the previous one due to its entertaining gags and especially its heart. It just goes to show that this series may be a bit more heartfelt too. Oh, but there's still one more episode we have to cover.
Absolutely not. I forbid it. Not gonna happen. Sorry, sweetie. Spring break is no place for young, vulnerable goth girls. You know, the kind of freaks up there who drool all over you.
After their one and only parking space was stolen by Verosika Mayday, some succubus pop star Blitz used to date, Blitz later makes a deal with Verosika and her gang, saying that if he and the imps could kill off more people than they can seduce in a day, they get the parking space. Meanwhile, Luna started crushing over Verosika's hellhound named Vortex, so she decides to tag along with the rest of the imps in a human form just so she can get some sweet, sweet wolf dick. Will the imps be able to win the bet and get their parking space back? Now, in my opinion, some of the major characters are definitely at their best here, especially Blitz. I just love the way he reacts to the parking space getting stolen and how poorly thought out his plan was. Blitz kind of reminds me of Blue from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. You know how both of them are just selfish and cocky, but at the same time not really the brightest around. I even enjoy his little argument with Moxie. Can't wait to see these two butt heads more. Now let's talk about Luna. Not only do they actually give her something to do here, but god freaking darn it, she is absolutely adorable in this episode. I enjoyed seeing her simp for this Vortex guy, and I genuinely wanted her to get with him in the end. But
Well, guess it's time to bounce. But hey, if you're ever down to party, I'll give you a ring sometime.
Really? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend throws a ton of crazy hound parties.
Nice. Can't wait for my first one.
Let's get you some friends, girl.
well, there's still hope, right? However, it sort of causes Blitz to be an overprotective dad around her, which causes a falling out between the two. That doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah, that's kind of my biggest complaint with the episode. This falling out between Blitz and Luna is never really brought up again throughout the rest of the episode. Kind of wish they had something, just anything around the end to have this scene brought up again, somewhat resolved. And I do hope this whole father-daughter relationship between Blitz and Luna is fleshed out and or brought up again in a future episode. Verosika also gets a little song in the episode too. And while I find the song itself to be okay, this was when I noticed something. Okay, so the first episode had a happy little song number with Miss Mayberry and the class. And as I brought up earlier, episode 2 had a few song numbers in it. And now episode 3 has a little song in it. So now I have to ask, is this going to be something like Phineas and Ferb or those Rita and Run shorts from Animaniacs, where they have to have at least one song every episode? If that's going to be the case, then I'm not really complaining, because in my opinion, these songs really aren't too bad so far. So yeah, the fight with the fish monster thing Rusk accidentally made was pretty cool. I kind of like the change in art style when Blitz was explaining the plan. And Moxie accidentally gets drunk in the episode too, and it's just so amusing to watch, and Richard Horvid freaking nails it here. So yeah, despite Blitz and Luna's falling out not really going anywhere, and me still preferring episode 2 over this, I still really enjoyed Spring Broken, thanks to stuff like its humor and character portrayals. Again, I still prefer the previous one, but this one was still fun too. Oh, and I still hope Luna will get with Vortex later in the series. And that's pretty much all 3 of the episodes. And I gotta say, I love the series so far. I love the characters and the way they bounce off each other, its charming and dark sense of humor, its animation and character designs, and especially its heart. As for future episodes, well, I'm not going to be reviewing each of them separately from when they come out. I may talk about the ones I feel are worth talking about, or maybe when the season's over, I'll talk about them all together. But I really can't wait to see what this series has in store in the future. Tune in next time as I go over a little internet crossover series. Okay, bye.